comment. We took note of the words of the U.S. top diplomat. We hope that U.S. diplomatic missions across the world will act on the commitment he made regarding not asking anyone to choose between the United States and China, and be truly open-minded about other countries' growing ties with China. Stop bludgeoning Huawei and other Chinese firms. Stop coercing allies into restricting chip exports to China. Stop baiting and forcing other countries made regarding not asking anyone to choose between the United States and China, and be truly open-minded about other countries' growing ties with China. Stop bludgeoning Huawei and other Chinese firms. Stop coercing allies into restricting chip exports to China. Stop baiting and forcing other countries to turning away from cooperation with China, and stop spreading disinformation about China, such as the debt trap narrative. Former President of U.S. George Washington once wrote, "Actions, not words, are the true criterion of the attachment of friends." We'll listen to what the U.S. says, but more importantly, we'll be watching what it does.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。日本广播协会的记者提。
NHK. This month, the Philippines launched tourist routes on the relevant islands in the South China Sea. Both Philippines and foreign nationals, including the media, can visit the 3 islands in the South China Sea controlled by the Philippines. What's China's response? Will any measures be taken?
China has indisputable sovereignty over the South China Sea islands, including the Zhongyi Island and the adjacent waters. We urge relevant sides to respect China's sovereignty and do not take actions that may complicate the situation in the South China Sea.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
您好，中国日报提问，中方今天发布了
China Daily. China announced today that the Palestinian President Abbas will pay a state visit to China. Can you share more about the visit, and how does China view the current China-Palestine relations and the Palestinian question? What does China expect to achieve through the visit? President Abbas is an old and good friend of the Chinese people and the first Arab head of state to be hosted by China this year. This speaks volumes about the high-level friendly relations between China and Palestine. China and Palestine enjoy traditional friendship. China is one of the first countries to recognize the Palestine Liberation Organization and the State of Palestine. In recent years, thanks to the personal guidance of President Xi Jinping and President Abbas, the China-Palestine relations have maintained a good momentum of growth with stronger political mutual trust and deeper friendship between the two peoples. China stands ready to work with Palestine to follow through on the common understandings of the leaders of the two countries and take the traditional friendship between the two countries to new heights. The Palestinian question is at the heart of the Middle East issue and matters to the region's peace and stability and global equity and justice. China has all along firmly supported the Palestinian people's just cause of restoring their legitimate national rights. For 10 consecutive years, President Xi Jinping has sent congratulatory messages to a special commemorative meeting in observance of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. Among the ones he put forward China's proposals for resolving the Palestinian question, stressing the need to resolutely advance a political settlement based on the two-state solution and intensify international efforts for peace. As a permanent member of the UN Security Council, China will continue to work with the international community for a comprehensive, just, and enduring solution to the Palestinian question at an early date. Next one, please.
Thank you. Question from Reuters. Reports are saying that the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is visiting China as soon as next week. Could the ministry provide any information about this? Thank you.
路透社提问，有报道称美国国务卿布林肯最快将于下周访问中国，请问你能否提供更多有关此次访问的信息？
我们之前已经
I have answered related questions which you can check back for updates. Next one, please.
Thank you. Another from AFP. While on a visit to to the United States, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and President Biden announced what they call the Atlantic Declaration, a new framework for U.S.-UK economic cooperation. The document that they agreed upon states that the two countries, quote, face new challenges to international stability from authoritarian states, including China. How does the Foreign Ministry view this declaration? Thank you.
美国首相苏纳克在访美期间英国首相苏纳克在访美期间同美国总统拜登共同发表21世纪美英经济伙伴关系大西洋宣言。宣言提出，全球稳定面临来自中俄等威权国家的挑战，中方对于这一宣言有何回应？
国与国之间
Exchanges and cooperation between countries should be conducive to safeguarding regional and international peace and stability. It should not target any third party or harm the interests of third party. Based on Cold War mentality and stoking bloc confrontation is indeed the real threat to world stability. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人，总台央视中文国际频道记者提问：10年前，美国前防务承包商雇员
CCTV. It has been a decade since former U.S. defense contractor Snowden leaked secret documents to media outlets, which revealed that the U.S. government has been long surveilling and spying on other countries in the name of counterterrorism. It has been strongly condemned by the world. On the 10th anniversary of the disclosure of the program, is there any comment from you? The revelation of the PRISM program certainly brought down the facade of the U.S. as a hacking empire. A decade on, this champion of hacking, instead of showing any restraint, has doubled down on its hacking behavior and sought to expand its cyber theft targets. Various U.S. eavesdropping and spying programs have been surfaced: Irritant Horns, Stellar Wind, Project Commandant, and Telescream, to name just a few. The U.S. has not only spied on the UN Secretary General and leaders of its allies, such as Germany, France, ROK, and Israel, but also legalized such practice. Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act allows the U.S. intelligence agencies to conduct warrantless surveillance of foreign targets. That section is set to expire by the end of this year, but the White House has declared that the reauthorization of Section 702 is a top priority for the administration. Over the decade, it has become clear to the international community that the U.S., a self-claimed champion of democracy and freedom, is in fact a violator of the rights and freedom of people across the world by abusing its high-tech prowess. The U.S. says it wants to keep the cyberspace safe, yet everything it does is about perpetrating cyber dominance and supremacy and expanding its cyber military alliance, which makes the U.S. the biggest threat to cyber peace and stability. The U.S. Clean Network Scheme is just another PRISM program carefully disguised to build an unrivaled, unsupervised U.S.-led global surveillance network. Last year, Chinese cybersecurity institutions and firms exposed U.S. cyber attacks on China and some other countries in their reports. The U.S. still hasn't provided an explanation to these attacks and has instead tried to use this information as a distraction tactic. Darkness prevails only in the absence of light. As more and more countries become aware of the U.S. hypocrisy, there will be less and less room for the hacking empire to continue its malignancy. The light of truth and justice will eventually prevail. Next one, please.
日本的记者。
谢谢发言人。公董事。
Kyodo News. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken's visit to China. What's China's attitude to dialogue with the U.S.?
你能再重复一下你的问题吗？
Could you repeat your question, please? What is China's attitude towards dialogue and cooperation with the U.S.?
表明过。
I have made clear China's position on this issue more than once. The position is clear and consistent. We are open to dialogue and cooperation, but the problem is that we should not communicate for the sake of communicate itself, and we should not say one thing yet do another. We should not claim to set a guardrail to the bilateral relations, yet do another. We need to work for the same goal and bring the bilateral ties back to the right track of sound and steady development. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。总台央视记者提问：据报道，8号美国国会参议院
CCTV, it was reported that on June the 8th, the U.S. Senate Committee on Foreign Relations approved the Ending China's Developing Nation Status Act. What's your comment? The U.S. is not labeling China a developed country out of appreciation or recognition for China's development success. The real motive behind ending China's developing country status is to hold back China's development. China's status as the world's largest developing country is rooted in facts and international law. It is not something that can easily be wiped away by a U.S. congressional bill. The rights that China is lawfully entitled to as a developing country will not be deprived just because a few politicians on the Hill say so. According to some U.S. lawmakers, there is concern China would use its developing country status to evade international responsibilities. That is completely unnecessary. China's contribution to global economic growth and UN regular budgets and peacekeeping assessments far outweighs that of most developed countries. It's not up to the U.S. to decide whether China is a developing country. The U.S. can neither deny the fact that China is still a developing country, nor stop China from moving towards national rejuvenation. Rather than trying to figure out how to pin the label of developed country on China, the U.S. might want to think about how to remove its own label of a bully and a hegemon. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。日本德曼新闻的记者
Yomiuri. According to People's Daily, President Xi Jinping said that when he was working in Fuzhou, he said that exchanges between Fuzhou and the According to People's Daily report on June the 6th, President Xi Jinping said that when he was working in Fuzhou City, he realized that exchanges between Fuzhou and Japan dates back a long time ago. What did he mean by saying this?
关于你提到的习主席有关
On the activities of President Xi, China has released a readout which you may refer to. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。北京青年报记者提问：近日，国际原子能机构理事会审。
Beijing News Daily, the IAEA Board of Governors reviewed the AUKUS nuclear submarine cooperation recently. China made a statement on the meeting to point out relevant issues involved in the trilateral cooperation and called for joint efforts to advance the IAEA's intergovernmental discussion. Representatives from more than 20 countries, including Russia and other countries, echoed China's position. What's your comment? The IAEA has reviewed the AUKUS nuclear submarine cooperation for the 8th consecutive time. The review shows that the cooperation involves complicated political, security, legal, and technical issues and has led to serious concerns and major differences in the international community. The US, the UK, and Australia claim to abide by the rules-based international order, but when it comes to other their own fulfillment of non-proliferation obligations, they blatantly apply double standards and place selfish geopolitical interests above nuclear non-proliferation. Looking back on the IAEA's history, whenever the US, the UK, and Australia sought to set the rules for other countries, they would always stress the importance of the intergovernmental process led by member states. However, on the AUKUS nuclear submarine cooperation, they have been doing everything they can to thwart the intergovernmental process involving all parties and attempt to coerce the IAEA Secretariat into making a deal between themselves and impose the so-called rules onto others. In what universe is this fair? On the Iranian nuclear issue, the US, UK, and other some countries wouldn't budge an inch and strictly prohibits Iran from obtaining highly enriched uranium. However, the two countries plan to transfer to Australia tons of highly enriched uranium of over 90% purity through their nuclear cooperation. The contrast once again laid bare the three countries' hypocrisy on the issue. We urge the US, UK, and Australia to earnestly fulfill their obligations and stop double standard practice and political manipulation. We call for joint efforts by all member states to advance an open, inclusive, transparent, and sustainable intergovernmental discussion process to firmly defend the international nuclear non-proliferation system, uphold the international order based on international law, and promote international peace and security. At the same time, we hope the IAEA Secretariat will fulfill its non-proliferation duties in accordance with the IAEA statute and the mandates of member states and help move forward the intergovernmental discussion process.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
Hi, question from Bloomberg about BRICS. Will Beijing host the BRICS summit in place of South Africa? And when will she next speak to Ramaphosa? And will this be on the agenda? Thank you.
一个关于金砖的问题，北京是否会代替南非召开金砖峰会？请记者重复一下问题的后半部分。Could you repeat the second part of your question? Um, 习近平主席什么时候会与南非的总统进行通话？北京会否会取代南非来召开下一届的金砖峰会？
Could you repeat the question, please?
I'm so sorry. When will she and Ramaphosa next speak? And will the BRICS summit be on the agenda for that conversation?
习近平主席何时将与南非总统拉马福萨通话？双方会否会讨论召开金砖峰会的问题？
关于你提到的具体问题。
On the specifics that you asked, I have nothing to share at the moment. And I have stated China's position on China and South Africa, which you may refer to. Next one, please.
Hi, thank you. Another question from Reuters. The Taiwan foreign minister will make a visit to Europe next week, Reuters has reported. The minister is expected to visit Brussels and also to appear with the Czech president at one event. What is the ministry's comment on this trip by the Taiwan foreign minister? Thank you.
First of all, Taiwan is part of China. There's no foreign minister in Taiwan. There's only a head of foreign affairs in the Taiwan region. The One China principle is a universally recognized norm in international relations. It is prevailing consensus among the international community and the precondition and political foundation for China and all countries around the world to develop friendly ties. We urge the EU to see clearly the nature of the Taiwan question, follow through on its own commitment on China, on the One China principle, do not support the Taiwan independence forces, and do not have any official exchanges in any name with the Taiwan region. China never wavers in its resolve of safeguarding national sovereignty and territorial integrity. We advise the Taiwan authorities that any separate moves and attempts to seek foreign assistance to advance independence are doomed to fail. Next one, please. Anything else?
没有的话，今天的记者会。
That's the end of today's briefing. Have a good weekend.